Hello everyone and welcome back to another Godot series. So here for the tutorial series, we are back with episode 1 of the tutorial series, which is setting up basic scenes in Godot. So before we start, I would like to remind everyone to please share, subscribe and like this video. And so there's nothing left to say, so let's begin. So first of all, I will first you have to open your Godot. So I'm gonna go and say Godot. So I have it saved here, but I also have it here in my taskbar. So I'm just gonna click on that. So when you open your Godot, so you're gonna be invited with this. You're gonna be welcomed with this. So an easy way to download Godot is just go to Google and go to Godot, and here you're gonna see the godotengine.org. So click on that. Now here you just need to go to downloads and it's gonna take a moment. There you go. Now you can download the mono version, which I have, but I'm not gonna use G Sharp, I'm gonna use GDScript itself. And next standard version is 64-bit. So you can download any of these because both of these have GDScript support. But if you really want C Sharp for some more of a bit of more light stuff or light experimenting, you can also download the mono version. So once you have it downloaded, you are going to be treated to this. And I already have two projects, but I'm not going to open one of these. I'm going to instead make a new project. So here, as you can see, here's a new project. Click on that. Now give your project a name. I'm just going to give it tutorial YouTube simple game. You can give it anything you want. Simple game tutorial YouTube. Now I'm gonna you have to save it in some folder. If you have made a folder, you can just browse for the folder and you can just save it. So I have saved it in my documents, and now you can choose your OpenGL version. I'm just gonna give OpenGL ES 3.1 3.0. So then you have to click create and edit. Now, once you've clicked that, you will see your Godot screen and your editor will pop open. So Godot taking its time right now. Yeah, so it's popped open. Now this is a 3D. This is a 3D scene, but now we're going to be working on 2D. So we're going to be setting up a basic 2D scene. So as you can see, here's your tabs. This is the script tab. This is the asset library for finding assets which people have already put on Godot. And next you have 2D. So as you can see, these are all the assets you can use, but I'm not going to use anything right now. And you can go back to 2D because this is a 2D plane. Now, as you can see, the difference between 3D and 2D is in 3D it's like this, but when you're greeted to this type of 3D space, which is welcoming but overwhelming. And when you come to 2D, it's pretty simple. There's like a basic canvas here, and it's obvious to think that everything inside this canvas will be visible. So now how to create a new scene. You can create a new scene. By default, Godot will create an empty scene for you, as you can see here, empty. But if you want to create another scene, just need to click on this plus icon beside the scene cat. Just click on this plus icon and a new scene will be made. Now just Control plus S or save, and you can name this scene. Or you can also add the scene by just coming here in your file folder and come to this res, right click and click on new scene here. And you can directly name your scene from here instead of saving it. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to save it and enter the scene. Now, scenes consist of root nodes. Root nodes are the nodes which are the root of the scene. That means, for example, you have a tree. In the tree, everything comes from the root. Everything is reference to the root, or everything is it's relative to the root. So, for example, I'm going to make a 2D scene root because this is going to be our game. So, this is going to be our game mode. Now, essentially, basically, what we do is, if in game development, we don't put all the players and everything all in one scene. We make separate scenes for the player two, or for example, bullets, guns, collision shapes, tile maps. All of this has separate scenes. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make the game node. So I'm just I'm gonna rename this node 2D. This is a node 2D. That means if it's a 2D scene, it's a node 2D scene. Now for control nodes, I'm just going to name this node. So double click on this and rename the node to game main. Yes, and now save this. Save it, and you can save it as game main because it's going to take the name of the first node, root node. So to add things to this root node, just hover over here and you will see this plus icon. By clicking on this plus icon, you can choose the node you want to add. For example, I want to add a sprite node. There are two types of sprites, animated sprite and sprite, but now I'm just going to use sprite because animated sprite consists of animated sheets, and we're going to do that in the next episode. So I'm just going to click on sprite for the sake of this video, and I'm just going to rename the sprite to my player, for example. Oh wait, player. Yeah, there you go. Now, for example, the sprite is going to require a texture. Now, on the right side, if you see here, there's this texture. Now, we have this default texture given by Godot. It's called icon.png. Just drag this over to the texture node. Just put it onto this texture thing. If not, just click on this like arrow down here and click on, for example, let me just clear that now. Click on load. Now I'm just going to come and load and just click on this icon.png and the same thing will happen now. Now, this is our scene and this is our sprite. So, if you're able to see, this is our screen. This inside, whatever's inside this rectangle is what we're going to be able to see. So if I run this right now, if I run this scene, to run a scene, just hover over here. So you're going to see the play button, the run scene button, and the play custom scene button. So run button we cannot actually put because we have not put a default run and what default scene needs to be run at first. So I'm just going to click on run play this scene which I have selected. Now you're going to see only half of the screen here. If you're able to see my screen, here's only half. You can only see half of the icon. So why we are able to see half is because this is the rectangle and only this bit is inside of the rectangle. But if we move the sprite into the scene, let me just sunset that. So here, now it's inside the screen. All the parts of the node or the sprite all are inside the scene. Now, if I were to run the scene, I would see the whole sprite. Now, this is how you can set up a basic scene in Godot. There'll be a root node. Now let me just direct you to the left panel here, our hierarchy. It's called the hierarchy. Now here, how our node basis or our node system will be is there'll be a root node and whatever is inside is relative to the root node. So to add nodes, you click on the root node or any other node. For example, I wanted to add a node inside the player. I just select the player here and I click on this add. Now for this, I can add for example, a camera 2D. We'll be talking about camera 2D later. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to add a camera 2D. Now as you can see, the camera 2D is now a child of the player. It's called child. Things which are inside a node are called the child. Children of the node. Now now camera 2D is a child node of player. And the child node of game main, that means our root node, is player. So if I were to close this and close this, you're going to see that everything is inside, everything. The camera 2D, the player, everything is a child node of game main, which is our root node. So anything inside our root node is all a child of the root node. So in code, in theory, in what we're going to do in code is we're going to find a component, an element or a node in which is relative to our root node. We're going to directly go and ask the root node if there is such a node present in your child, in the list of your children. So then the root node is going to check if if one of its children has the specific name which we have given. So this is our basic scene setup. Now, if you have mistakenly put the wrong root node, you can just to change the root node. You just have to click on this root node and right click and come here, change type here, right here, below rename, change type. Now, once you change the type, you can change the root node to any type. Now we'll be going over different types of nodes to create a basic game later on. We're going to be explaining it in episode 2. Episode 2, simple character basic movement. Simple basic movement for a character. Now, this is all that we have for today. We have created our root node. We have created a new scene. And don't forget to save most of the times. We created a root scene. We have created a player using Sprite. But this is not going to be our player yet. We're going to change the way of our player, because we're going to make a completely new scene for our player, and then we're going to instance the scene using the root node, and instancing scene will be given in the next episode. So stay tuned for the next episode. Share, like, and subscribe. Thank you.